circumstances did not lead you to where you thought you would be, and you just want to escape from everything you've ever known, is there a place you could go? I'm always watching like Dateline. People, have these crimes that they commit. Where do they immediately skip town and go to? Like they go to Florida.
Taylor Swift is breaking down her songs track by track. The global superstar broke down meanings and themes behind certain songs from her latest album, The Tortured Poets Department, which dropped April 19th, including Florida, Fortnight, Clara Bow, My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys, and Who's Afraid of Little Old Me, while doing Amazon Music's track by track. The pop star began by explaining a bit about the first song on her album titled Fortnight, which she collaborated on with Post Malone and is speculated to be about her rekindled romance with 1975 frontman Matty Healy.
Fortnight is a song that I think really exhibits a lot of the common themes that run throughout this album, one of which being fatalism, longing, pining away, lost dreams. I think that it's a very fatalistic album in that there are lots of very dramatic lines about, life or death, and I love you, it's ruining my life. Like, these are very hyperbolic, dramatic things to say, but it's that kind of album. It's about a, dramatic, artistic, tragic kind of take on love and loss. And Fortnight, I've always imagined that it took place in this, like, American town where the American dream you thought would happen to you didn't, right? You ended up not with the person that you loved, and now you have to just live with that every day, wondering what would have been, maybe seeing them out, and that's a that's a pretty tragic concept, really. So I was just writing from that perspective.
While breaking down Florida, her collaboration with Florence and the Machine, Taylor explains that she was inspired in part by Dateline and how the state is a place where people like to escape.
I think I was coming up with this idea of, like, what happens when your life doesn't fit or your choices you've made catch up to you, and you're surrounded by these harsh consequences and judgment, and circumstances did not lead you to where you thought you would be, and you just want to escape from everything you've ever known. Is there a place you could go? I'm always watching like Dateline. People, have these crimes that they commit. Where do they immediately skip town and go to? That they go to Florida. They like try to reinvent themselves, have a new identity, blend in. And I think when you go through a heartbreak, there's a part of you that thinks, I want a new name. I want a new life. I don't want anyone to know where I've been or know me at all. And so that was that was the jumping off point behind where would you go to reinvent yourself and blend in? Florida.
The pop star also spoke about Clara Bow and how she wrote it as a commentary to the music and entertainment industry.
Clara Bow is a song that I wrote as sort of a commentary on just what I've seen in the industry that I've been in over time, right? Like, I used to sit in record labels trying to get a record deal when I was a little kid. And they'd say, you remind us of, and then they'd name an artist. And then they'd kind of say something disparaging about her and be like, but you're this, you're so much better in this way or that way. And that's how we kind of teach women to see themselves. It's like, you could be the new replacement for this woman who's done something great before you. And so I had this idea that it's a conversation between the young woman sitting in the chair in front of the desk and the man in power or woman in power sitting behind the desk saying, oh, you remind us so much of a woman who came before you, but don't worry, you're better. Like, we're going to make you the new her. So I picked women who have done great things in the past and have been sort of these archetypes of greatness in the entertainment industry. Clara Bow was the first it girl. Stevie Nicks is an icon, and an incredible example for anyone who wants to write songs and make music. So I just thought it would be interesting to talk about how weird that feels if we really add up that that's what we do as a society.
While discussing My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys, Taylor explained how it relates to relationships and denial.
My Boy Only Breaks His Favorite Toys is a song I wrote alone, and it's a metaphor of, from the perspective of a child's toy, being somebody's favorite toy until they break you and then don't want to play with you anymore, which is, how a lot of us are in relationships where we are so valued by a person in the beginning, and then all of a sudden they break us, or they devalue us in their mind, and we're still clinging on to, no, you should have seen them the first time they saw me, that they'll come back to that. They'll get back to that. So it's kind of like a song about denial, really, so that you can live in this world where there's still hope for a toxic, broken relationship.
The pop star also got candid about her single titled Who's Afraid of Little Old Me?
So being in the public eye since I was a young teenager, there's a lot that does to, your perception of the world, your perception of yourself, the idea that the world has this sense of ownership and not just a right, but they feel they have a responsibility to judge you and to critique you and to weigh in. And, that can really toy with you. Who's Afraid of Little Old Me was a song I wrote just alone, sitting at the piano, in one of those moments when I felt sort of bitter about just all the things we do to our artists as a society and as a culture. There's a lot about this particular concept on the Tortured Poets Department. What do we do to our writers and our artists and our creatives? We put them through hell. We watch what they create, then we judge it. We love to watch artists in pain, often to the point where I think sometimes as a society we provoke that pain. We just watch what happens. So there's lines about, feeling like I've been in the circus, those kind of metaphors, or feeling like I'm sort of like a witch in a haunted house. Those are some ways that I feel sometimes when I'm not able to kind of right the ship and cope with my normal coping mechanisms. So this song was just a very, very true way that I feel sometimes. And it's always good when you can be honest about those things.